On today's show, is Jaylen Brown gettable for the Dallas Mavericks now? We'll talk about that and more trades on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Join the Raccoon Squad, be an everydayer, and subscribe or follow for free. Just search Locked On Mavericks wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. In the comment section, name one player the Mavericks should trade for this offseason. Just one. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook partner of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. If you want to support the show, text us. Get text alerts from us. I was talking to some people. One guy was confused about Christian Wood today and was like, I just don't get it. Can you explain it to me? We had a good text conversation about it.
I should reply back to that.
If you want to have some conversations, we can. Subscribe, and it supports the show too. Keeps us 5 days a week all throughout the offseason. We appreciate you. And joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com. The winged wonder, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I've had a couple people reach out and ask us or ask me if we get a portion of the subtext stuff, if that's a way to support us that way. Yes, we do.
That is correct. So, that's why we're selling out.
Yes. This is why we don't do
we're not raising money for Locked On.
This is why we do YouTube and not Spotify.
Yeah. Raising money for Locked On through the subtext. No, yeah. Locked On is a really good deal for us, and so we are getting paid through this, and it's an extra revenue source for us, and then that's why I say it does help us keep 5 days throughout the offseason, because there's, we don't have to for the whole offseason, but we do because we like it.
Want to give a shout out to our Brazilian friends who listen to the show. My mother-in-law is in from Brazil, and if you know suco maracujá, it is the best juice.
Oh, I thought you were giving a toast.
I mean, we can toast to your, what is that, like a Pine Cove?
This is a 30-ounce bottle.
Anyway, I'm just drinking some maracujá right now, and it is the best stuff. And
there you go.
So, anyway, that's all that matters right now. This is also my mother-in-law who went to the Blazers game years ago. When we first started this pod, and all she talked about was Zero, because Zero went off that game, Damian Lillard, and she still asks about Zero to this day.
And I will bring Hector Zeroni up the mountain while I drink.
Don't know what that's from.
Holes? Zero? You don't remember that movie? That book?
Gosh. This is like
my wife taught it in school, so I watched the movie like recently.
Okay. Don't act like you have this like excuse for everything. I mean, you quote Avatar half the time.
That's an amazing show. Literally offended.
You teach that in 4th grade?
They should. It's incredible. Everyone should have to watch that show.
I replied to you on something on Twitter the other day, and you didn't even reply back.
Bleacher Report had an amazing finals graphic.
I know.
Where
I said that's
Jokic was the Avatar, and Jimmy Butler was the Fire Lord. It's not going to go well for Jimmy Butler if that's the case. I just want to, spoiler alert. But on today's show, we're going to get into some trade ideas. Isaac's got some trades. He's going to pitch them to me, including can the Mavericks get Jaylen Brown? And can the Mavericks get Myles Turner on draft night? A couple of those. Those should be good. Isaac Harris, is Jaylen Brown gettable now? Because I'm listening to some podcasts today, some reporters and some people talk about Jaylen Brown, and he's eligible for this Supermax. This 5-year, $300 million extension or just deal from the Celtics because he made All-NBA. And he's not worth that. Right? Like, he's a great player, but $50 million a year, like for a player that was just so exposed in that playoff run. Like, everyone's talking about his handle and can he dribble and the turnovers and all that. Like, he just had a really bad, definitely series, but pretty bad playoff run there. And can the Celtics stomach that? And is he gettable? Should the Mavericks be interested in that? But what's your take on Jaylen Brown right now?
I mean, his value is definitely low. I mean, it's probably the lowest it's been in a while, especially because of the coming cost that's going to take to keep him. I mean, for a team like Dallas, I mean, man, if you can get Jaylen Brown, you get Jaylen Brown. Like, this is one of the dudes that would fit alongside Luka perfect, even alongside Kyrie and Luka.
Yeah, Luka goes, "Hey man, you can't dribble? That's fine. I love to dribble. I'll dribble all the time. You don't have to at all."
Him and Kyrie are buds.
He get more open shots with the Mavs than he is on the Celtics. That's for sure.
I think a lot of these teams, like the Portlands of the world that are wanting to take the next step up, I would be, Houston, with hiring Ime, like I would be calling Boston saying, what's the price? Like how low is the value right now? And I think teams would be willing to give up a lot of assets, and to where, like, yeah, if you start hearing stuff about like Portland, like Simons and number 3, I mean, if I'm Boston, I really think about something like that. That's when you start asking yourself, okay, what does Dallas have to like even entertain it? And I think you have to look at, Dallas's assets and like, all right, you got the 10th pick, you got the future first, you got Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, and then, you have all the contracts and stuff. It's like, are you willing to give up everything you have, all the assets you have for a Jaylen Brown? Or is it like, hey, I'm willing to give up 3 out of the 4? So, for instance, I think this is the type of deal that, I think this is as best that Dallas could probably do. You could throw Hardy into this, but let's say, they call it Boston and they say, all right, Tim Hardaway, Maxey, Josh Green, the 10th pick, and the 2027 first unprotected.
Boston says no. I don't think that's enough for him.
Yeah, I agree.
The problem is
even if Hardy's in that, I would think they say no.
The problem for the Mavericks is, okay, so you're bringing in Jaylen Brown. Are you assuming he's signed his like extension or whatever, or that he's signed some kind
extension?
Of sign?
He couldn't do the same extension, but
yeah, some kind of sign and trade with him. And then you're trying to figure out, okay, if it's 40, even if it's like 40 million or something like that, can you do 3 $40 million players on one roster? Is Cuban going to pay for that? Like,
because then you're talking about the second tax apron at that
absolutely
point.
Yeah, that's completely in play if the Mavericks were to do something like this and add him to Luka and Kyrie, and not just, Luka and Jaylen Brown, because they're not going to take Kyrie. They're not going to take Kyrie in a trade. I don't think he's going back to Boston anytime soon.
Now, and that's why ultimately, when it comes to the Jaylen Brown conversation, unless Kyrie went elsewhere, let's say Kyrie went somewhere else, whatever. I just don't see the trio of Kyrie, Luka, and Jaylen Brown working out financially in Dallas. If Kyrie went elsewhere and then Dallas, pivoted and try to push all their chips in for Jaylen Brown, then I think it'd be a great fit alongside Luka. But as currently constructed, I don't think Jaylen Brown to Dallas happens.
No, and firstly, because the Mavericks don't have enough to give to them, right? Because we just put together the Mavericks' best trade offer, and we both agreed no. But the other side of it is, if you have 3 $40 million players, that's $120 million, and the cap is 134, and you have to have 13 other players, 12 other players to be added to those guys. So it's hard to do with just 14 million. You'd have to have a bunch of minimums, and you'd basically be the Suns. You'd be what the Suns are right now.
But coming up after the break, let me tell you how Dallas can get involved in a Jaylen Brown deal, but it's not Jaylen Brown.
Talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has you covered all throughout the offseason, the playoffs. They have a new no sweat first bet, $2,500, $2,500 is your no sweat first bet that you can you get back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So you can get up to that. You can put down $2,500 on something and get it back if you don't win. That's pretty crazy if that's your first bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon again to get a no sweat first bet. FanDuel.com/lockedon and see what's available. They have they have to have the finals up. We talked about it the other day. They got the NBA finals. The Nuggets now -500. That means they got a ton of money on the Nuggets, and then they upped it because wasn't it -360? Didn't we say that yesterday? And so the Nuggets are big favorites right now. Big in like a playoff setting for the series. They were also an 8-point favorite yesterday in game 1. They're now a 9-point favorite, so that's rising. If you want to get on the Nuggets, you might be a little too late on that. But anyway, go check out FanDuel. Again, FanDuel.com/lockedon. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Being part of the show, join the Raccoon Squad, subscribe to the subtext. We appreciate all the support. And anytime we hear from you, by the way, don't DM me on Twitter anymore if like we haven't DM'd, because my Twitter DMs are just so full of bots that I can't respond to any of them anymore. So subscribe to the subtext trial and then text us. If you want to get in contact, that's the best way for me to respond, because I no longer can look at my Twitter DMs. It's so full of bots.
Wow, you're important, bro.
No, I'm just full of bots. Just so many people wanting me to rep their crypto, or to meet them somewhere, or to want to get to know me because of whatever.
Yeah, they do.
Oh my gosh, so many you look like interesting person. Who can we
Brady
talk?
Dick.
Oh my gosh, it's insane. Anyway, all right, Isaac. We started this podcast 3 different times, which is a bad sign for me. If you're doing a podcast, Isaac knows, having done this 6 years. So,
all right, let's talk about Jaylen Brown trades. Here's a way. Man, I love coming up with fake trades. Let's do this one first, and then I'm going to give you my favorite one that I came up with after this that includes Myles Turner. But let's say Charlotte, Rafael Barlow wrote the other day that Charlotte could be entertaining trade downs from pick 2. So
they are entertaining them. They're doing their due diligence, I think was his actual report, that they are.
So let's just say what if Charlotte is just sick of being bad and they entertain pick 2 for Jaylen Brown?
Yeah.
What if it's a Charlotte gets Jaylen Brown and JaVale McGee? Shout out.
Good for them.
Boston gets pick 2, Tim Hardaway, Maxey, Bertans, and Kai Jones.
Okay.
And Dallas gets Malcolm Brogdon and Gordon Hayward.
So the Mavericks, just because it's a Mavericks show, the Mavericks are getting Malcolm Brogdon, Gordon Hayward's crazy 1-year contract.
And you keep pick 10.
Keeping the pick, but you're sending out Tim Hardaway, Maxey, JaVale. You're getting off of Davis's contract, which is good, and getting off of JaVale's, I guess, too, if you want to put it that way.
Basically, for Dallas in this deal, would you rather have Tim and Maxey or Brogdon and Gordon Hayward?
Tim and Maxey or Brogdon and Hayward.
If you're assuming Bertans and JaVale doesn't play next year.
I know. Well, Bertans is not going to play because of his contract. He's not going to play wherever he goes. He'll play 50 games. He's not getting anywhere close. What is it? 65 games he has to play?
Yeah, he's not getting
anywhere close to that. Man, the recency bias on Brogdon is no, because you saw him hurt in that conference finals and he wasn't good, but he just won 6 man, or he just was close to 6 man of the year, or won it, I think.
I know.
And so he's good. I would definitely take him over Tim for sure. The question is it worth Maxey? And then with Gordon Hayward, he's just so hurt all the time.
I know.
And again, it's
1 year.
He's not a guaranteed. You're doing the opposite of the KP deal then, because you're then combining these bad salaries into one guy for 1 year.
I think I would do it. I think I would do it because you add Brogdon into the third guard role.
He'd be great.
And you play him alongside Jaden Hardy off the bench. You bring Gordon Hayward off the bench at that point. And he's also an expiring contract that you can include him something else later on. You're keeping pick 10 in this deal. I'm not for sure Charlotte does this. Just moving out the second pick completely for Jaylen Brown. I mean, how much better, I guess, LaMelo, Jaylen Brown, Mark Williams, PJ Washington.
It's only if it gets weird with your boy Jordan trying to sell the team. Yeah. And he's like, all right, we gotta do some stuff. We gotta show some competency and competitiveness. And they're like, all right, we need to do a win now trade. And so then they're forced to do something. And this is the one thing on the table for them. I can see it in that sense, but just in a vacuum, no, I would just keep the second pick. If I'm them and I have some kind of patience or some kind of length for whoever's like Mitch Kupchak or whoever's job is on the line. If I have any kind of staying power, I would just try and build it up.
Okay, here's my favorite trade I came up with.
I'm ready.
This is a 3-team trade between Charlotte, Indiana, and Dallas. And the idea behind this for me is, could Indiana get Dallas's 10th pick to help them move up to the second spot with Charlotte to get Brandon Miller? For Indiana to say, we would love to form a core of Halliburton, Brandon Miller, and Mathurin. Okay, stay with me here.
Okay.
Charlotte, for giving up the number 2 overall pick, would get Buddy Hield, Nembhard, Josh Green, 7 and 10.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
7 and 10.
Indiana would get pick 2, Terry Rozier, and Bertans.
I'm just really proud of you for doing a fake trade where Terry Rozier is in the deal and doesn't come to the Mavericks.
I know, it was hard for me. Dallas would get Myles Turner and 26.
So the Mavericks are sending out Josh Green, the 10th pick,
and Davis Bertans.
And Davis's contract for Myles
Turner and the 26th pick.
And the 26th pick. So at that point, let's just throw a couple names out who you're looking at 26.
I didn't go that far.
You're in the Kobe Buffkin, Colby Jones, Keegan Murray's brother.
You're getting a player somewhere along that route at that point.
Yeah,
but you're
taking a chance on somebody at that point.
You're still adding a young guy, but the main thing is, is Josh Green and pick 10 worth Myles Turner?
I think so.
Okay.
It's tough for me because you know how much I love Myles Turner. I just think that as a player, besides the fact that he doesn't roll very much, is that he would just be so great because he can space the floor and he defends the rim at a really high level. The Mavericks haven't had somebody like that literally since Tyson Chandler, both times. Oh. And so, but the problem with the Mavericks is you don't want to give up 2 assets for one thing. Because you only have so many assets to entice and to sweeten other trades to do things. And so in a vacuum, of course, that would be worth it if you're another team that has a bunch of other stuff. If you're OKC and you have a bunch of other stuff and you have a Josh Green type, like they're Jalen Williams, not Jalen Williams, Jay Williams, J-Dub or whichever one, the less good one, the big man. If you have that and pick 10, you do that all the time. Heck yeah, do that move. But for the Mavericks, they're just so scarce with their assets. But I think I would do this. I think I would do that deal.
It's basically Josh and 10 for Turner and 26. Yeah. And for the Hornets, you're swapping out Terry Rozier's contract for an expiring Buddy Hield contract. And then you're going from pick 2, getting 7 and 10 while also getting Josh Green and Andrew Nembhard.
Yeah, who are good.
I think it's a pretty good deal for Charlotte. And man, then the Pacers have that young core of those 3. That was my favorite deal that I came up with because I could see all 3 teams saying, all right, yeah.
They could all talk themselves into it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
At that point. So what is a Luka, Kyrie, Myles Turner pair, trio do?
Well, the thing with that is you're swapping, Bert's. It's not like you're adding a ton of money this year because, you still you're basically swapping out the Bertans and Josh Green, rotation spot for Myles Turner at that point. So, and
Turner he had that contract where it was an extension plus what he was making. So he's making 36 last year. He's only making 20, pretty much 21 million next year. And then 20 million the year after that. So that's right in the sweet spot for a center. That's exactly what you want to be. You don't want to be paying $30, $40 million for a center in today's NBA. Unless it's Jokic. Literally no one else. Literally no one else. $30 million for a Bam. If you're elite defensively like that, you can stomach that. But 21 is so perfect in that range. You can make that roster work. Luka, Kyrie, and Myles Turner.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about the $20 million range big man of Turner, Jared Allen's, those type of bigs. Actually, coming up next, I have some. Let's move down to Portland at 3. I have a handful and one massive 4-teamer that you're gonna have to hold on.
Oh my gosh, you have to
really jot this down.
We have to write it down. Yeah, we'll talk about that coming up. All right, Isaac Harris, we're continuing to talk about trades on tomorrow's show. My doppelganger, Grady Dick, will do his draft profile on tomorrow's show. So make sure you come back and for that draft profile. We did Jarris Walker's draft profile yesterday. So if you didn't listen to that show, do that one. We've also done Taylor Hendricks and Anthony Black. So go check out those episodes. And then tomorrow we'll do Grady Dick's draft profile. All right, Isaac, give me another trade.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll talk about Dick. And so right now,
pause.
Let's do a simple 3-team trade. Would Portland entertain Towns for the 3rd pick?
Interesting.
So let's do it. Portland gets Karl-Anthony Towns. Minnesota gets the 3rd pick, Anthony Simons and Davis Bertans. Dallas gets Nurkic.
They get the 3rd pick and Anthony Simons?
Yep. And then they say, we don't need Nurkic. We're through to Gobert.
Yeah.
Let's flip into Dallas for Bertans.
So the Mavericks just get Nurkic for Bertans.
Yep.
Is it bad that I don't like that?
The Nurkic fit isn't perfect in Dallas, but if you're telling me you're swapping it out for Davis Bertans' contract, yes.
The problem is, like, when we saw him this season, he wasn't that great, and his contract it's pretty long, right?
2 more years after this, I think.
It's he's making 17 million, 18 million, and 19 million the next 3 years.
So no for you?
It's in the range. I just don't know if is he good anymore?
Well, he's better than anything we have.
We said that about JaVale McGee all summer. I don't know if I believe that.
True.
I don't know if I believe that anymore. He also just doesn't fit what their defense is. Like, we're gonna have the same problem with JaVale. I agree. It is like a complete upgrade if you're going Davis to Nurkic, but then all of a sudden you're trying to figure out what to do with that contract.
Yeah, it's true.
But
okay, let's do another 3-teamer here.
Cap.
Kind of the same concept as Indiana. What if Utah said we want to jump up to the 3rd spot for either Scoot or Brandon Miller?
Yeah.
And they said, all right, we got to get the 10th pick from Dallas to combine it, with the 9th pick and say, here you go with some other pieces. They have a ton of 1st-round picks. So would you, if you're
they
first off,
need Dallas.
First off, for Dallas, would you trade Bertans and pick 10 for Colin Sexton 16 and 28?
16 and 28. Plus Colin Sexton, who's Jaden Hardy, but older. At 16, can I get Derek Lively? Am I allowed to know if Lively is there?
Maybe.
I think I do that. I think I would, because I would rather have 2 shots at the draft than just one.
Colin Sexton 16 and 28 for Bertans and 10.
Yeah, and you get off Bertans. I'm in on that deal for the Mavs.
And then Utah turns around and says, "All right, we'll give you pick 9, pick 10, Kelly Olynyk, and let's say Jordan Clarkson agrees to opt in to go play for Portland, and in future unprotected first."
Ooh.
So 9, 10 unprotected first, Olynyk and Clarkson. For pick 3, Nurkic, Nas Little, and Bertans.
That's an interesting one.
So Utah cashes in a few of the assets here. They get Brandon Miller or Scoot. They give up Olynyk and Clarkson. So basically they get one of those guys. For Portland, they get Olynyk and Clarkson, who can help them win now. Then they get 2 cracks at it. They move from 3, but they get 9 and 10, and then an unprotected future first.
And at 9 and 10, you could get one of Jarris Walker, Taylor Hendricks, and Anthony Black, Cam Whitmore. Like you're getting 2 more.
Yeah. What if they walked out of it with Jarris Walker and Grady Dick at 9 and 10? You add a shooter, alongside them, and now they turned the 3rd pick in Nurkic into Jordan Clarkson, Kelly Olynyk, Jarris Walker, and Grady Dick.
That's good. That's good to build around.
Yeah,
and you're trying to do the two things. They've been straddling this line of like competing, but also we're gonna develop Simons. We're gonna take Sharp. Like we're gonna do both things. And this trade allows them to keep doing both things. So that's interesting for the Blazers.
All right, let's do this. The 4-team trade.
Oh boy, okay, I'm sitting back.
Portland, Atlanta, Boston, Dallas. Who do you want first?
Do Dallas first.
Dallas gets Okongwu and Al Horford.
I'm in. Whatever it is.
All right.
God, they would be so good for the Mavericks. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
They're the two centers that can play what Jason Kidd wants to run.
Boston gets the 3rd overall pick. So Brandon Miller or Scoot, Anthony Simons, and Nurkic. So they get all 3 of those from Portland. Atlanta gets Jaylen Brown and Davis Bertans.
Okay.
Portland gets DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan Bogdanovic, pick 10 and pick 15.
So they're sending that out for 3 and Simons.
Yeah.
And the Mavs are getting Al Horford and Okongwu for 10 and
Bertans. You're going to have to pay Okongwu.
That's fine.
And Horford is 38, about to be 38, with another year after this at $10 million.
But he was just the Celtics' second best player in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I would say that was Derek White, but Horford was up there.
Horford was really good. He's about to be 37.
Okay.
But still, just a Okongwu for 10 to me is like worth it.
Is it?
I think so. I think he's really good. I think he does what he's mobile enough that he does what the Mavericks need. Like if they're gonna just be so stubborn on this type of defense, he's the one to run it. He's Bam. I mean, he's Bam.
So for Portland in this scenario, they basically swap out Simons for DeAndre Hunter and Bogdan, and then
which is not great.
What do you mean?
I don't think that's good for Portland. You're
really?
Yeah.
Man, see, I think I would be really interested in that.
Simons is good.
I mean, I think Simons is good too, but to have another wing out there and DeAndre Hunter,
yeah, you're getting better fit wise, but not.
They're not going to win jack with 2 small guards with Simons and Dame.
Well, they did with him and CJ. I mean, it's just going to take Simons. Simons is 23.
Okay, well, never mind. You don't like this for Portland. If it's Atlanta. Atlanta's trading DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan, pick 15, and Okongwu. But you're getting Jaylen Brown, and you form a starting 5 of Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Jaylen Brown, John Collins, and Capella.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. If you're Boston, you get Scooter, Brandon Miller, and then you swap out Jaylen Brown and Al Horford for Simons and Nurkic.
Simons would help some of their offensive things for sure. Nurkic would be weird for them, but you have Robert Williams, so maybe Nurkic is just like your.
I debated I'm like Rob Williams instead of Horford
to the Mavs.
But then it's like Rob Williams and Okongwu together. But the fact that you think you would give up the 10th pick straight up for Okongwu right now is interesting.
Yeah, would you? Sounds like you wouldn't.
I don't know. I don't think I would.
He was the 6th pick in the 2020 draft.
Yeah. But he still doesn't start for him.
No, because they have Capella.
Interesting. Okay. Somebody just got really confused on that 4-team trade.
Oh, for sure. We confused several. If you're still listening and you're not confused, send us a message. Comment below and say if you're not confused. Let's keep talking about a Okongwu thing. So you wouldn't do 10 just straight up for. They're like, all right, 10 for Okongwu. We don't think we're gonna pay him, and you go ahead and take him. He's
kind of in the Josh Green spot, right? Like they got to figure out if they're gonna pay him.
Yeah, he's making $8 million next year.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I would need to really dive into more Okongwu stuff.
He comes in day one and starts.
I know, but I just got to figure out how good he can be. I need to really jump on.
But you're talking about the 10th pick. And you get 1 year to try and figure out what you're going to do with him.
I know, but he doesn't even start for Atlanta. And I know they have Capella, but for you to for us to just say dude, he's our answer at the center spot. I need to know a little bit more before I commit to that. Because you're also committing to paying him. So,
but not to how much.
Yeah. It's interesting though. But man, if we could get Okongwu and Horford,
that's a good deal
for the 10th overall pick.
And Alpha
Just to end it for the fun of it, let me give you 2 non-Mavs trades.
Does this have 7 teams in it or?
No, it's just 2 teams for each. It's back to Charlotte at 2.
Okay.
If you're Brooklyn, would you you're not going anywhere? Would you call up and offer Mikal Bridges 20 and 21 for pick 2 and Terry Rozier? And just say, sell my whole fan base on Scoot?
They wouldn't trade Mikal Bridges for 4 first-round picks.
They're bringing up the same quality. I've went over this a million times.
They're not adding picks to that. It's Mikal Bridges for that third
for Scoot.
Yeah,
Scoot you're putting Scoot on billboards. Are you putting Mikal Bridges on billboards? I mean,
they probably are. They probably are right now. Okay.
So my last one is
actually you put it on a bridge, not a billboard. Sorry.
My last one is Washington. Would Charlotte do? Now this just reeks of a classic Charlotte trade. So Gordon Hayward and pick 2 for Brad Beal, Johnny Davis, and 8.
Gordon Hayward and 2 for Brad Beal.
Brad Beal, Johnny Davis, and pick 8.
So you're taking you get Brad Beal and you move down 6 spots.
Yeah, you're swapping out Hayward for Bradley Beal and Johnny Davis, who was the 10th overall pick last year. But
shout out to Brad Beal for getting to move from DC to Charlotte. What a weird move that would be.
Then Washington gets Scoot and says, "All right,
that'd be great for them."
And Charlotte, I mean, isn't that the classic Charlotte move though? It's yes, give us Bradley Beal, and you move down 6 spots. And
can we get $20 million more and $20 million better Terry Rozier and just try and run that back? Can we do that?
I actually don't hate that trade. I mean, LaMelo, Brad Beal. Then you're looking at Jarris Walker or whoever.
Beal's deal. So I'm so interested in what Michael Winger, the new guy that's running the Wizards, what he's going to do with Beal. If he's going to does he have value? Is that contract valuable across the league, or is it?
Take that, yeah.
But take it for what? What does that mean? Is that?
That's my first conversation I'm having if I'm Winger. Oh, Brad, what do you want?
Dude, should he care what he wants?
Yeah, because he has a no trade clause.
Yeah, that's true. It's
the only one in the league.
It's a very good point. That is a ridiculous contract. How did Brad?
Absolutely insane.
Tommy
Shepard should be in the Bahamas right now, and just dude, Brad Beal hooked me up.
3-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA, just holding Wizards over a barrel.
This sounds like a classic Portland move too.
Yeah, it does. Can I read his contract out loud to you?
Please do.
Next year. $46.7 million, $50 million, $53.6 million, $57 million player option in the last year.
Yeah.
He's going to be
to that second tax apron.
He's going to be 30 in June.
It sucks how much money changes a player.
I know.
He's not that bad, but just because that
He's not bad. He's not bad at all. But he's only a 3-time All-Star. Well, and injuries too. Injuries has really hampered him from being as good as he can be too.
Yeah.
I mean, he led the league in scoring, or he was close. He averaged 30 and 31 points 2 years in a row. All right, there you go. There's some trades. If let us know which one you do, which player you'd want on the Mavericks. Tomorrow we'll do our Grady Dick draft profile. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.